Hey folks, welcome back. We are well on our way to getting our ship off to Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada from Ketchikan, Alaska. You can see our cargo has been loaded. There's the entry door. The entry door has been secured. Yes, we checked that crash axe. Yes, we checked that fire extinguisher. Yes, we are back in the cabin where we belong. Okay. Now that we have no crew members around us except for this one guy here, let's do a flight control check. Systems. Full forward, no binding, full deflection, back to neutral. Right, full aft, no deflection, full deflection, no binding. Right aileron, that's okay. Left aileron, full deflection, no binding, that's okay. Right rudder, full deflection, no binding. Left rudder, full deflection, no binding. And I always like to add in a speed brake test. Watch those spoilers activate as well. That test is successful. Put the engine display back down here. And let's... now again, we're in an uncontrolled airport, but we do want to warn folks around us that we're about to start the engine. So I'm going to tune to the common frequency, which here in Ketchikan is 122.20. And on the common frequency, I'm going to announce in the blind. Ketchikan traffic, Alaska 4-3, preparing to start engines in the cargo area. Ketchikan.
Alaska 4-3, this is Ketchikan FSS on 122 go ahead.
The Ketchikan Flight Service Center just answered us, but we'll ignore that. Okay. We need to supply bleed pressure to the engine, so we're going to make sure the packs are off. Dual bleed is on. We're getting duct pressure. Anti-collision light is on. Let folks around us know that activity will be soon happening. Number 2 engine into the ground position. You can see our N2 level is starting to climb. Once we've reached 20%, we can introduce fuel to number 2. Some people like to wait for number 2 to stabilize. It's really not monstrously necessary, especially with the Max. I'm told the Max you can start both engines at the same time. We'll select number 1, ignition left. You can see N2 is starting to climb. I heard the click, which meant the ignition went back to the normal position for number 2 engine. As number 2 starts to stabilize, we can introduce fuel to number 1. Now that hydraulics are on and ground personnel have been cleared away, we can move our flaps lever into the number 5 position. And we can monitor that. Might need one more. Flaps in transit. Auto brake to RTO. Flaps are to takeoff. Speed brake retracted. Throttle levers to idle. Trim is... I would love to set the trim at 5.6 whatever, but I can't, so I'm not going to worry about that. And actually, as soon as we go into Command A when we take off, we're going to be... the autopilot will take care of the trim anyway, so I'm not monstrously worried that that's not perfect. I do like to get on some of these lower lights. Oops. We don't need a taxi clearance because we again are at an uncontrolled airport, but we do want to announce our intentions to folks who might be in the area. Let's put on the taxi and runway turn-off lights. We are on engine power, so we can put the engines on the bus. We can shut the APU off. No more need for the APU. And it'll slowly wind down in its own time. It'll take a little while to do that. Go off of dual bleed. Isolation valve to auto. Packs can come on. Packs can go to auto. I heard the air conditioning just kick in. That's good. Flaps and slats are indicating as they should. So, parking brake off. Clear on the left. Clear on the right. Taxiing to runway 11 will mean... let's actually do a... Let's do a taxi briefing. It's not much to it, actually. So here we are at the terminal. Runway 11 is down here. We're going to take a full length turn to the right. Full length on runway 11. 7,500 feet should be more than ample for us. And our departure is the Ketchikan 6. 116 heading, basically runway heading, at above 2,000 feet to 190, and then to 147 to Annette. Annette is tuned in to our number 1 VOR. Let's see if we have Annette. And actually, let's put a fix ring around Annette. I'm going to put a fix ring around Annette for situational awareness. So let's go to fix, choose Annette, and I want a, is it /5 or 5/? I forget. 5/? Oh, no, that's not it. /5. There we go. So now we have a 5-mile circle around Annette. And I think I want to do that also for our other VOR, which is, forget the name of it, YYJ, I think it is. Let's look at our routing. YYJ. /5. Wonderful. I want the V speeds on this side. I'm sorry, legs on this side. Legs on this side. V speeds on the other side. There. Ah, okay. We are looking pretty good. Split. Okay. Okay, let's put a course deviation, the CDI, let's put the CDI needle on the number 1 VOR, which is to Ann. Actually, I'm going to do this on the first officer's side. So let's go back to map view, and we'll move the range in. So the map view with the range will be on my side, and the CDI needle tuned into 325 will be on the first officer's side. Ethos. Okay. Okay, so 117.10 needs to be over here as well. There we go. Okay, so the pilot not flying has got the VOR, and the pilot flying has got the map. Clear on the left, clear on the right. Release the parking brake. It is released. Let's hit the throttle just a little touch. Configuration check. I got no configuration alarms, so takeoff configuration is fine. Check for traffic one more time, and let's get some taxi speed going here. Engine switches to continuous. I'm going to turn the landing lights on a little early here because I know that we are single pilot operations. Turn the strobe on. Logo can come on, wing lights can come on. This is a bit of a grade. I'm climbing a grade to get up here. Still doesn't take much power. What beautiful scenery. Oh my goodness. This Alaska scenery is gorgeous. I'm going to blank out the lower panel for takeoff. We could, even though there's no cabin to ding, we could ding the cabin just to keep our good cabin habits going. We are an uncontrolled airport, so we do need to call for IFR release so that the air traffic control can squeeze us into the rest of the system. Let's put the parking brake on. let's flip the frequencies back from the common traffic advisory frequency. We should have probably announced our Vancouver, Ketchikan traffic, Alaska 43, taxi runway 11, Ketchikan. Let's flip over to the release on Anchorage Center. Anchorage Center, Alaska 43, ready for IFR release, runway 11.
Alaska 40, you are released for departure. Runway 11 after takeoff, maintain heading 116 until above 1600. Then turn to intercept course. Climb and maintain 10,000 feet. Release for departure void at 14:50 Zulu, advise with alternate intentions no later than 14:58 Zulu. Time now is 14:46 Zulu.
Alaska 43 released for departure, runway 11 after takeoff, maintain heading 116 until above 1,600, then turn to course. Climb and maintain 10,000 feet. Release for departure void at 14:53 Zulu.
Okay, let's flip over to the common traffic advisory frequency once again and announce our intentions. We'll look for traffic on final. We'll start the clock. No traffic on final. Ketchikan traffic, Alaska 43, departing to the south, runway 11, Ketchikan. Take full length on the runway. Don't be afraid to straddle that end line. If there were a displaced threshold, I would use all of the displaced threshold for taxi and takeoff. Can't land on a displaced threshold, but you can taxi and take off on it. Get ourselves lined up. Now let's say you're in the old Roman days and you got your chariot, and each of your horses is temperamental. They have their own personality. One's stronger, one's weaker, one's faster, one's slower. And that's very true of an airplane as well. Your two engines are just like two racehorses, and they may not be exactly identical. So because of that, if I were to go full thrust right now, I might get what's called asymmetric thrust, or a little different thrust on each engine, which can be dangerous, especially during takeoff. So what I want to do is I want to bring my thrust up to 40% and stabilize. Get those racehorses performing pretty much the same. Now I can press my toga, my little hidden toga switch right here, and prepare to release the service brakes. Oh, we need to turn on, need to arm the auto throttle. That's a good, notice that I did not do that earlier. I don't believe I'm hitting the auto throttle until you are at the runway. So missing that wasn't necessarily a bad thing, because you can have runaway throttle. If you turn that auto throttle on too early and it malfunctions, you can have runaway throttle, which can be very dangerous. So we're at 40%. We hit the toga. N1, so the we're getting our toga power.
V1.
And rotate 15 degrees up. Hold the attitude. Landing gear up. Positive rate. Landing gear up. Landing gear in transition. We're at flaps 5. Let's go to flaps 2. We're aiming for 2,000 feet. Let's go to flaps 1. And and let's go to flaps up. Oh, we
Caution, terrain.
we busted our speed. We busted our speed below 10,000 feet. We are a rocket ship. Our auto throttle. So we went to VNAV, LNAV, and Command 1. Our auto throttle will get us slowed down here pretty quick. Okay. I disconnected the autopilot because we weren't tracking the course to Ann as we should have been. I also want to control our speed here. A little bit of an overspeed warning, and we'll get our course back to Ann. So we're slowing down to our programmed 250 knots below 10,000 feet. Actually, now it's giving us, oh, now we're above 10,000 feet, so we can kick up our speed. I don't know if we were given 14,000 feet or not. And I'm just going to go ahead and put in 14,000 feet since we're already past 10,000. Let's see if LNAV picks up our turn to the left. You can see the VOR needle has spun around, which means we have passed Ann. We're looking at the tail end of the VOR needle. Again, I'm disconnecting the autopilot because it's not tracking our LNAV course the way it should. Above 10,000 feet, we can get rid of all these lights. We can get our continuous switches back to normal. And we're on our way to 14,000 feet without much issues. So I'm going to Put the VNav back in. Get the autopilot back on. Altitude acquire, altitude hold. It shot through 14,000 feet by just a little bit. We're getting our MCP speed. Let's change that over to N1 speed. VNav, FMC speed is what I really wanted. So we're VNav, we're taking our speed from the flight management system. And that should put us on track for Vancouver. Okay, folks, I'm going to pause the video and allow you to join me when we are closer to the descent. So thanks for coming along, and we'll see you soon. Actually, I've come to a command decision. I've decided to go ahead and end this video, and then I'll make a new video for the arrival. So this will be the end of this video, and then join me for arrival in Vancouver. See you soon.